GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good night, Montreal.
Firefighters and city authorities responded this afternoon to a sudden collapse at a demolition site on the corner of St. Denis Street and René Lévesque Boulevard. The structure, which was in the process of being taken down, gave way at approximately 4:50 p.m., sending debris onto the sidewalk and into nearby traffic lanes. Emergency crews moved quickly, securing the area and confirming that there were no injuries among workers or passers-by. Police have cordoned off the block while investigators begin to determine why the building failed before demolition was completed. The incident marks the first major collapse at a downtown demolition zone this year, prompting a review of safety protocols by municipal regulators. No further incidents have been reported, and traffic on René Lévesque is being rerouted around the site. The fire department said its teams had the scene under control within minutes.
Students at Bedford School gathered for a cheerful farewell this afternoon, swapping textbooks for steaming plates of poutine as the school marked the close of the academic year. Teachers joined the celebration, sharing the iconic dish of fries, cheese curds, and gravy while saying goodbye to their classes. Unlike most institutions on the island that shuttered for summer, Bedford kept its doors open for the special event, turning the cafeteria into a lively hub of laughter and lingering memories. The surprise treat was presented as a reward for a year of hard work, giving pupils a tasty reminder of Montreal's culinary pride before the long break. Parents who arrived later caught glimpses of smiling faces and the lingering aroma of gravy, a fitting send-off for the graduating seniors and their teachers.
Health Canada carried out coordinated raids on Thursday, seizing low-pressure hyperbaric chambers from Arthur Tétrault wellness centers operating throughout Quebec. The federal agency acted after issuing an advisory that warned consumers about the risks of unapproved devices marketed by certain wellness facilities. Inspectors entered each location, removed the chambers, and secured related documentation. Officials said the equipment does not meet Health Canada's safety standards and that the centers had not obtained the required approvals for medical use. The seizure follows a broader effort to curb the spread of unregulated health products that could jeopardize public safety. The advisory, released earlier this month, warned that low-pressure chambers can generate misleading altitude effects and may strain heart function. No injuries have been reported so far.
Both the coalition Avenir Quebec and the Parti Québécois turned down an invitation from English-language media to join a televised debate, leaving the upcoming provincial election campaign without an English-language forum. The invitation, extended earlier this week, was meant to give Anglophone voters a chance to hear the parties side by side. Officials from each party said they would not participate, citing the format and audience as reasons. The decision means that Anglophone outlets will not host a live debate as the campaign ramps up, and voters seeking direct comparison will have to rely on separate interviews or French-language events. Election officials have not indicated whether an alternative arrangement will be offered, and the move has drawn comment from media groups calling the exclusion a missed opportunity for broader engagement.
Heavy rain on Monday turned Rue Fox in Pierrefonds into a shallow river, forcing residents to wade through water that had spilled into dozens of homes. The weekend's intense downpours marked the third flood to batter the West Island neighborhood this year, and volunteers spent the day hauling water-logged furniture and personal items onto the street for cleanup. Local officials have warned that the area's aging storm drain infrastructure struggles to cope with the volume of precipitation that fell across the region. Neighborhood associations are coordinating with the city to assess damage and prioritize repairs, while some families remain displaced until repairs can be completed. The mayor's office pledged extra resources for drainage upgrades, though timelines are unclear. Residents expressed frustration but remain determined to restore their streets. The repeated flooding underscores the growing challenge of managing extreme weather events on the island's older residential districts.
Up next, we'll break down Tennis Canada announces new Montreal stadium with retractable roof, plus more headlines. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. Now, let's turn to Rachel Reed for the latest local stories you need to hear.
Tennis Canada unveiled plans on June 23 to construct a new tennis stadium right here in the city, complete with a retractable roof. The venue is designed to meet the expanding needs of professional tour, allowing matches to proceed even when rain threatens. Officials say the modern facility will give the region a year-round home for high-profile events, which could draw spectators, media, and support staff from across the country. Local businesses anticipate a boost in hospitality demand, while construction jobs are expected to surface during the building phase. Residents may also gain access to community programs once the stadium opens, adding a new recreational option to the neighborhood. The project signals a commitment to keeping the city on the map for international sport, regardless of the weather. Construction is slated to begin later this year, with completion targeted for the early 2020s.
Quebec officials announced on June 23 a shift in how public contracts will be awarded. The province plans to reduce the proportion of tenders given strictly to the lowest bidder, moving away from a procurement culture that prioritizes price above all else. The change aims to encourage broader evaluation criteria, though details on the new weighting system were not released. Currently, a large share of government work goes to the cheapest offer, a practice the ministry says limits quality and innovation. By adjusting the rules, the government hopes to create a more balanced market for suppliers and improve outcomes for taxpayers. The announcement was made by the Provincial Finance Ministry, which said the new approach will be phased in over the next 12 months, giving agencies time to adapt to revised evaluation frameworks. The policy adjustment will be rolled out through a series of guidelines expected later this year.
Heavy rains over the weekend of June 20th and 21st unleashed floodwaters that swamped hundreds of homes in the western part of the city and on the South Shore. Municipal officials confirmed that the deluge overwhelmed storm drain capacity, forcing water into basements and ground-level rooms across several neighborhoods. Emergency crews responded throughout Saturday and Sunday, deploying pumps and sandbags while urging residents to avoid flooded streets. By Monday, damage assessments indicated that many families faced displaced furniture, ruined flooring, and interrupted utilities. The city has activated its flood relief protocol, allocating resources to clear debris and restore power. Public transit routes along the affected corridors experienced delays as tracks were submerged, prompting temporary reroutes. Insured homeowners are being advised to document losses for future claims. Officials warned that the intensity of the rainfall, described as diluvian, could recur, and they are monitoring river levels as a precaution.
The chief of the Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal will sit down behind closed doors with members of the City Council's Public Safety Commission on Monday, June 22nd. The private session is set to focus on pressing public safety concerns that have been circulating across neighborhoods. While the SBVM chief routinely briefs elected officials, this gathering is being highlighted as a dedicated effort to align policing strategies with municipal priorities. Council members are expected to review recent crime trends, discuss resource allocation, and consider coordination on emergency response protocols. Officials emphasize that the confidential format allows frank dialogue on sensitive operational matters. The outcome could shape how police and the council jointly address safety issues affecting residents in the coming months. City leaders hope the discussion will translate into clearer communication for neighborhood watch groups and faster support for victims of recent assaults.
On June 24, the province will observe its national holiday, and a substantial number of Montreal establishments will remain shut. The municipal government released a schedule indicating that banks, post offices, municipal offices, schools, and a range of retail outlets will not open. Health clinics and some private medical practices have also marked the day as a non-working day, while many restaurants and cafes have chosen to close in line with the celebration. Commuters should expect reduced public transit service and limited access to government-run facilities. Residents planning errands or appointments are advised to check with individual providers ahead of time, as the closures are tied directly to the official holiday observance. Public libraries will also be closed, and municipal parking enforcement will not operate during the holiday. The day marks a province-wide pause, with most commercial activity suspended for the festivities.
Now, let's take a look at what tonight's weather holds for you across the city.
Tonight's weather snapshot rolls out the night's temperature, wind trends, and a look ahead to tomorrow. The all-time high for June 23rd in Montreal stands at 34.9 Celsius, recorded in 2025 during a heat wave that pushed the thermometer into the mid-30s. The record low is 9.2 Celsius, set in 2021 when an early cold snap drove temperatures into the single digits. By contrast, the normals for this date hover around a high of 24 Celsius and a low of 15 Celsius. Today's 27-degree peak is a few degrees above average, while the nighttime low of 15 matches the norm. Right now it's partly cloudy with a temperature of 22 Celsius, humidity sitting at 56%, and a gentle breeze from the southeast at 12 kilometers per hour. The night will stay clear enough for the mercury to dip to 15 Celsius by early morning. As the sun rises, a weak western flow will build to a maximum of 17 kilometers per hour, keeping the air feeling fresh but not chilly. The day's high will reach 27 Celsius, comfortably above the 24-degree average for this time of year. UV index stays at 5, so sunscreen is optional but still a good idea for any extended outdoor time. No weather alerts are in effect, and the sky remains dry throughout. That brings us to tomorrow's outlook. Wednesday opens with an overcast sky and a high of 23 Celsius, dropping to 15 Celsius overnight. Thursday stays overcast, but the rain chance climbs to 50%, with the high nudging to 25 Celsius and a low of 16 Celsius. Friday becomes wetter as drizzle is likely, 70% probability, and temperatures ease to 22 Celsius by day and 16 Celsius at night. Saturday eases with overcast conditions, a high of 24 Celsius and a rain chance of 20%, low remaining at 16 Celsius. Sunday finishes the stretch with partly cloudy skies, a high of 23 Celsius, a low of 16 Celsius, and a modest 25% rain chance. Expect a gentle breeze all week, winds from the west at 10 to 15 kilometers per hour.
The forecast done, snarls, events preview, recap Carey Price elected to Hockey Hall of Fame in 2026 class. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
And now here's Jason with sports.
A Montreal legend is headed to hockey's most hallowed address. Carey Price is going to the Hockey Hall of Fame. The Montreal Canadiens goaltending great was elected Monday as part of the 2026 class, joining Patrice Bergeron, Pekka Rinne, Keith Tkachuk, and Cindy Curley in the player category. A long overdue honor for one of the most gifted goalies this franchise has ever seen. More good news out of the Canadiens organization. Prospect Bryce Pickford has been named CHL Defenseman of the Year. Sportsnet reports the honor signals promising depth in Montreal's defensive pipeline, a name Habs fans will want to remember. On the women's side, the PWHL has released the selection order for its 2026 draft, set to take place in 2 days. Sportsnet reports the announcement gives teams and fans a clearer picture of how draft day will unfold.
In the quiet streets of Chibougamau, the scent of fresh snow mingles with the crisp pine that lines the riverbank, and neighbors gather at the community center under a banner that reads, "Safety First." Today the ministry announced a temporary ban on open-air fires and outdoor work across Quebec's northwest, a precaution as the region faces a heightened risk of wildfires. The news sparked a flurry of activity. Local high school students, bundled in bright jackets, spread out hand-painted signs warning of the restriction, their brushstrokes bright against the whitewashed walls. Across the square, a group of senior volunteers, many of them who grew up hunting and fishing here, share stories of past seasons when a single spark could change everything, reminding the younger crowd why the pause matters. As the sun dips low, families gather on the center's patio, sharing hot chocolate and a simple lesson on fire safety that will stay with them long after the ban lifts. In that moment, the community's resolve feels as steady as the snow-capped hills surrounding them. Together, they protect the land they love.
On St. Laurent Boulevard in the Plateau, a handful of neighbors gathered around a weathered brick building that has sat empty for months. They are the volunteers of the cooperative housing group Habitat for All, and today they hoisted the final set of reclaimed wooden doors that will mark the opening of 24 affordable units. A recent study showed that asking rents in Montreal have roughly doubled since 2019, with the average now approaching $2,000, even as roughly 25,000 rental units remain vacant. Yet the sight of a mural of maple leaves unfurling across the facade, the smell of fresh coffee from a nearby cafe, and the sound of children's laughter echoing from the new communal garden tells a different story. The first families moved in this afternoon, sharing a modest kitchen and a rooftop terrace where they plan to grow herbs together. In a market that feels increasingly unaffordable, this pocket of community reminds us that collective action can turn empty space into home. It's a small, steady reminder that Montreal's spirit endures.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us tonight. That sudden downtown demolition collapse reminded us how quickly our city can change, and we're grateful for your vigilance. I'm Peter Miller. See you tomorrow for more stories that matter to our community. Stay safe and keep the conversation going.